Hey, so I'm Craig Cameron, the CEO and founder of Chosen for Greatness, Inc. And what I've decided to do for any creator, whether you work with us or not, I'm going to create a free course that will outline all the things you need to know getting into this business, or things that you might not know if you're already in this business. So we got to start with the motivation behind doing behind doing OnlyFans. So desperation for money is usually one of the most common reasons people get into this. And yes, it is a good motivator, but you have to understand your nudes are on the internet forever. So some people may have issue with that. Some people are body positive, they're sex positive. They don't really mind that being the case, but you have to realize you're selling your nudes to someone who will have them in their phone or on their computer forever. So once you can get over that, once you're comfortable with that, then we can kind of go to the next stages. But if that's an issue for you, then you have to realize this may not be the right business for you to get into. If it's just about money, maybe there are other opportunities, because I wouldn't want someone to get into this if they're not really sure or if they're not aware of some of the potential consequences. Now, I get this question a lot from creators, whether it's ones I work with or prospective creators. Can you do an OnlyFans without doing any nudity? And the answer is yes, you can. The problem is that with no nudes, it's a difficult path, and it's a lot harder to make the obscene amounts of money that creators that show their nudes can make. Can you do faceless is another question that we get. And yeah, you can. Faceless definitely works, but it's not the path of least resistance, and it's a lot harder to get traffic. It's a lot harder to build a brand. It's a lot harder to get attention, and ultimately it's way, way, way harder to make money. Can it work? Absolutely, just not as well as non-faceless creators most of the time. So you have to understand, when we get started in OnlyFans, how any business works. So whether you're in lumber, whether you're in making refrigerators, whether you're trying to sell a political candidate to an audience, you have to realize business comes down to three things: marketing, fulfillment, and sales. Marketing is important because let's say you have the cure for cancer. I always use this example. Let's say you have the cure for cancer. If nobody knows that you have it, you can't sell it to anybody, because the people who would buy it have no idea that you even exist. The second part of any business is fulfillment. So going back to the cure for cancer, let's say you tell people you have the cure for cancer, but you don't, then ultimately you're scamming. And there are people that's their line of work. There are people that wake up every day trying to figure out, okay, how can I trick this person or that person or this group or that group into giving me their money? But fulfillment, this is where you, as the creator, this is where you shine. You have to think of it like being a professional athlete or a singer or an actor. It's so difficult to worry about your craft and then also worry about all the admin, all the marketing, all the sales. But fulfillment is really you just providing your audience with what they want. Now, the final component of this is sales. And going back to the cure for cancer example, let's say you have the cure for cancer, you actually have it, and let's say people know that you have it, and you want to sell it for $1 million, but the person or the persons that you're selling it to are saying, hey, we only want to pay $100,000. Sales, which is the backbone of your business, which is what this entire business comes down to, is your ability to ultimately get your potential customers to come up out of their pocket and give you the money that you feel is worth what it is you're offering. And this is something as well where for a single creator, it's not impossible, but it's so unbelievably difficult to work on creating great content, to work on marketing your content on different platforms, posting, editing, and then have to go and do the sales yourself. Because a lot of people think there's this misconception, if we build it, they'll come. A lot of people think, a lot of creators think if I just set up my OF, all this money is going to come from the sky. But no, you have to understand the sales process. And this is not just the sales process for OnlyFans. This is the sales process for sales. So any business, whether you're selling TVs, whether you're selling real estate, whether you're selling the cure for cancer, You have to understand how to build rapport. You have to understand how to take someone down what Jordan Belfort would call the straight line path of selling. You have to understand how to create an offer that's so irresistible to someone that they don't mind paying you because they feel as though they're ripping you off, even though you may be charging obscene amounts of money. So right at the beginning, you have to understand what this business is made of and what your motivations are, and then figure out if this is something that you're willing to pursue all the way to the end, or to pursue until you start getting amazing results. So understand your motivations. Make sure that you have the right motivations, that you're not just doing this out of pure desperation or greed, because what'll happen is you'll end up being discouraged or disappointed if you don't see the results right away, or you might have what's called shiny object syndrome and move from opportunity to opportunity. If this is what you want to do, then you have to understand what's going to make you successful. And that is going to be your marketing, your fulfillment, and your sales.